Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to Tyria Then, the show where we play through the entirety of the Guild Wars franchise and talk about it. Entirety is very ambitious considering we are on episode 4.
We'll get there, though.
Yeah, it's the intent that matters, right?
That's right.
So welcome back to Tyria Then. I'm Aaron. This is my co-host, Miko, as always.
Hello, everyone.
And we are here to tell you about the Northern Shiverbeaks this week.
Yeah.
This bi-week, this every 2-week installment. So I just noticed in my notes I have the word henchaman written instead of henchman, so that's cool. Fun trivia about my show notes. So this week we're talking about the Northern Shiverbeaks. We spent the last 3 episodes, so 1 through 3, in Ascalon. We spent episode 1 in Pretty Green Ascalon. We spent episodes 2 and 3 in grimy brown Fallout New Vegas Ascalon.
Right.
And now we're leaving.
Yes, now we have lots of snow.
Yeah, Miko, what happened in the story last episode that brought us towards leaving Ascalon?
So we chased after the Char because Rurik wants to take the fight to them. And we discovered that, we freed a bunch of prisoners, Ascalonians, who'd been taken prisoners by the Char. Found Errol with the haunted eyes. And he and Rurik took us to through the ruins of Sirmia. And we get to a temple, basically, and discover the mouthpiece of Stormcaller, which is a big old horn that's supposed to be a weapon that will take out all of the enemies of Ascalon. And they think that this is going to change the tide of the war. It doesn't really. It sort of takes out the fires that the Char keep burning to kind of give them magical power, but it doesn't really take them out because there's a lot of them and there's not that many Ascalonians. It's
very vague.
No, yeah, and when you're through with the mission,
Nolani Academy.
Thank you. Yes, Nolani. And yeah, Daddy Adelburn, King Adelburn, shows up and thinks that Rurik has done a great thing because he's taken out some Char. But Rurik has suddenly had a sort of change of heart. He sees that Rin is burning. He thinks that there's no point to keep throwing Ascalonians at the Char. And he says, Dad, it's time for us to go and make an allegiance with Kryta, take our people to Kryta, let them have a Char for your life, and Adelburn ain't having it, and disowns him. And so Rurik makes a big speech at the end and tells the people of Rin, which are like 5 people, to follow him across the mountains. It's not 5 people, that's a lot more, but
it continues to be about 5 people throughout this episode as well.
Yeah. So so he takes the refugees from Ascalon into the Shiverpeak Mountains because he wants to get to Kryta. So that is where we are today.
Yeah, and the Shiverpeak Mountains kind of bisect the map of the Tyrian continent. So you have Ascalon in the east, and then as a big line down the middle, there's the Shiverpeak Mountains north and south.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Kryta, which is kind of like in Guild Wars 1, Tropica is like a... Tropica? Kryta is like a tropical island paradise, and then in Guild Wars 2, it's like Northern California.
Yeah, it's like grasslands.
Yeah, with pine trees.
Yes.
So it kind of changes a little bit between the 2 games. We're going to be experiencing it in the order that it was released. So we're going to be going to Palm Tree, Sandy Beach Kryta, which is my preferred Kryta, in all honesty. But we're not going to be seeing it this episode. we got to trudge through the snow first.
That's right. There's a lot of snow and a lot of mountains.
Yeah, there is. So we have a segment at the top of the show called the Bestiary, which I like to insert because we get a lot of new enemies depending on what regions we're in. We're entering the Shiver Peak Mountains, and there's some different types of both enemies and friendlies that we're going to be running into this episode that we haven't really had a lot of experience with, or no experience at all. Mm-hmm. Miko, what is a Dalyak?
Dalyak is, well, it's sort of like a woolly mammoth type animal.
It's like a woolly water buffalo.
Yeah, and when you kill them, they make dying elephant sounds.
Yeah, so there are, it's interesting you brought up the dying elephant sounds.
I mean, I heard it a lot.
Yeah, so there are some enemy Dalyaks. There are Dalyak riders that the dwarves use. We're going to talk about dwarves in a second. And then there's friendly Dalyaks, too. There's one in Yak's Bend, which I believe Yak's Bend is named after Dalyaks. Mm-hmm. I also didn't read the outpost description, which I probably should have before making that statement. Someone can confirm or deny, but I believe it is named after Dalyaks. Yak's Bend is where we spawn after we complete the Nolani Academy mission. And it's kind of a good ways away from the Nolani Academy mission. You got to go through like multiple explorable areas to get to Yak's Bend if you're just hoofing it. So I think doing the mission is the fastest way to get there. Unless you're like a specialized running character, which I'm not. So that's where we spawn after we complete the mission. There's snow everywhere. And there's a lot of NPCs in Yak's Bend.
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of Pike and Square, actually.
Yes, they've got a lot of profession NPCs, so you can pick up side quests to get new skills. Some of them are quite funny when you can pick them up for your own professions and primary and secondary professions.
Yeah, and did you have any profession-specific quests you could get in Yak's Bend?
I had, let's see. I had one from Howland the Elementalist.
I had 0 quests from him. I found him standing there, and I was like, I guess he's just for flavor. So he gives Elementalist quests.
Yes, and you can get 3 skills from him. Whirlwind, Ward Against Foes, which is a good melee ward skill, and Ice Prison.
What quest does he have you do?
So he has you take on a quest called Heart of Ice, and you have to go and retrieve the heart of an ice golem.
That's a way cooler quest than any of the ones I did.
Yeah, it says the Stone Summon are able to create ice golems using a magical gem known as the Heart of Ice. And he says, I want it. That's all he says. He's like, I want it. Bring it to me. And you have to go and find this Stone Summit dwarf called Greplak Froststaff.
I love the names of bosses.
Yeah, the names
in this
are great.
game.
And so it's funny because when you finally find Greplak Froststaff, he's surrounded by ice golems, and even though he's not taking any damage, he's pretty much scared shitless of them. And he's just like, I don't want this thing. You want it? Here, just take it. And so he basically just shoves it on you, and you're like, great, thanks. And when you go and turn it in, Howland is like, yes, I'm going to study this. And that's it.
What a bizarre quest.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, sus boy, what are you doing with this Heart of Ice that you really want to study it? So I'm convinced he's going to, take it on and maybe try and create his own little golems.
Yeah, so you basically just went and got Gollum the One Ring and just said,
pretty much.
Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy this. So the Greplak guy, he's a Stone Summit dwarf, but he's friendly in this quest.
Yeah, you can't kill him.
Interesting. Do you have to save him from the ice golems?
Yeah. Yeah, but even though he's like, yeah, because he's literally surrounded, so you've got to kill all the ice golems, and he's just standing there, like, scared out of his mind.
That's like an actual interesting quest. All the warrior quests are like, go here and kill this, and then come back.
Yeah.
It's all very mundane. Speaking of ice golems are a thing in this area. They're very similar to stone elementals, except they're made of ice.
Yes.
Shocker, I know. And they like shoot ranged attacks. They shoot spells. They cast a really annoying spell called Deep Freeze.
Yes.
Which I hate. It slows down your whole party and does damage to everybody. They're just real nasty water elementals. They're level 10. What level are you coming into Yaxbend?
Coming into Yaxbend, I think I was 12 or 11, and then I did a couple of side quests before I started like the playthrough for today.
You cleaned up Ascalon a little bit.
I did a little bit, yeah, and I hit 12. I wasn't that far away, and I think I was at like around 12 and I started running missions.
And then what level are you at the end of your playthrough?
Like 13 and a half.
Okay, I'm
good level.
Yeah, I just dinged 14, so I'm only a little bit ahead. Yeah.
I think you did more side quests for the last episode. You picked up like everything.
Yeah, I kind of dived in this latest episode. So yeah, we have ice golems, we have Dulyaks, we've got dwarves here, guys. We're coming across dwarves for the first time in Guild Wars. We won't have found these guys before. There's friendly dwarves in the Yaxbend outpost, and there are a metric ass ton of hostile dwarves outside the Yaxbend outpost. And if you're me and you grabbed every quest before walking out of the portal, there's even more than like regular.
Yes.
So that wasn't intelligent, but it was efficient. So
there you go.
It depends on the way you look at it, because I got to knock out all these kill dwarves quests at once. So yeah, these guys are called the Stone Summit. They're evil. There's essentially a civil war going on in the Shiver Peaks between the Stone Summit dwarves and the Delgermore dwarves, who are the kind of quote-unquote good guys.
Yes.
They're the dwarves that are open to being allies and helping you get through the mountains. The Stone Summit are described as xenophobic, and they have no interest in letting us through the mountains, and they will stop at nothing to slaughter us before we get there. I believe it's Captain Osric who says the Stone Summit are xenophobic and hostile. He's one of the Ascalonian captains I think he's the only Ascalonian captain in Yaxbend. He's a quest NPC, so he had some stuff to say about the dwarves. I also talked to a couple podium guys about the dwarves. We'll chit-chat about our podium discussions later.
Yeah.
Podium time. And then did you do any of the quests that take you back to the Ascalon foothills at all?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so there's a cute little area between, I think, Flame Temple Corridor and Traveler's Vale, which is the explorable area directly outside of Yaxbend, called Ascalon Foothills.
Yes.
What kind of enemies did you find in Ascalon Foothills?
Hydra.
Yeah, Hydras.
When I saw that there were Hydras, I immediately thought of I remembered the Hydras from later on in the game, which really hurt because they're higher level. These guys were only like level 10, so I was like, they tickled, but they weren't too bad.
I mean, these guys definitely hit me pretty hard. I don't think I died to any Hydras, but they definitely, if you get hit by their meteor...
yes, they're all like fire arrows.
Yeah, they drop meteors that do a lot of damage and knock you down. And that's a problem, so I kind of had to be careful with how I was aggroing these guys.
So Hydras are like double-headed dinosaurs.
Do they only have double, or are they triple-headed?
I think I only saw double, but I may be wrong.
In like mythology, aren't Hydras 3-headed?
Yes, but I only saw 2 heads. That's why.
Did they really only have 2 heads? I wasn't paying too.
So.
I've always assumed they had 3, and I never really actually checked
I'm gonna wiki it while you're chatting.
Yeah, I mean, they might have 2 or 3 heads. I don't know why Anet would troll us with 2-headed hydras, but
yeah, apparently they have 3, and I've only ever seen 2 because one of them is tiny.
Oh, they have a tiny one.
I think it's a perspective thing. So
okay, like you come at them from the side, you might not see that third one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And then you're just staring at your skill bar at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. And you're like, oh my god, don't let me get hit by those meteors.
Yeah, that's Guild Wars 1 gameplay in a nutshell. Like you take an analysis, a brief glance analysis of where the enemies are, and then you play the entire game on your mini map and your skill bar.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's there's a bunch of stone elementals with the hydras. The hydras are definitely the highlight of Ascalon Foothills. There's a couple quests to do here. I did one where I had to go talk to a materials merchant.
Yes.
Because some guy gave him all these materials and then the merchant got lost, so he never got his armor made. And the merchant is literally just like, sorry, I live here now.
Pretty much.
You go to him and you're like, hey, are you coming? And he's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just gonna ply my trade off of the refugees. I'm having a good life. See ya.
Yeah, he's like, there's gonna be refugees coming by for another 7 days, and I'm staking my life on this.
Yeah.
I don't know how intelligent this man is.
I don't know, but yeah, he's made up his mind.
Yeah,
that,
he's camping out next to a statue of Grenth, absolutely surrounded by hydras.
Hydra.
This man's level 2.
Yeah.
These hydras are level 10. It's a bad idea. He doesn't even have a lean-to or anything.
No.
He's just standing. He's got a backpack, to be fair.
Yeah. He does.
Looks pretty full, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bizarre quest.
Yeah, but did you talk to him after you did the quest? Did you see what his wares are?
Yeah, so he's a rare materials trader, right?
Yeah. Again, another one.
Yeah, I would love the statistics on how many people have gone to this guy. I'd be like, oh, I need some parchment.
Yeah.
I'm going to go talk to that guy that lives next to the Grenth statue in Ascalon Foothills.
Well, though he does, to be fair, he's got a collector friend who's also standing next to the Grenth statue. Yes,
yeah. And also in the vein of great names in Guild Wars 1, the guy who gives you this quest is named Tabor Woolridge.
Woolridge, yeah. I wrote that down too. I was like, that is a great name.
I have an ongoing file full of character names that I can use in RPGs. I think I may be adding Tabor Woolridge. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And we also have new henchmen in Yaxbend, don't we?
Yes.
We've got quite a few, and our party size is expanded in Yaxbend, isn't it?
Yes, we are now up to a party of 6.
Yeah.
Which we were very excited about at the end of the previous episode.
Yeah, but it turns out enemy groups are up to a party of 8, so it doesn't matter, really.
No.
So they give you 2 more henchmen you can put in your party, and then they just crank the enemy difficulty up really high. This was definitely the hardest episode gameplay wise for me so far.
I think you're the melee DPS, so I can see that running into the fray against some of these enemies is going to be a bit of a...
Well, and I found that, so I was taking Claude, the Necro henchman. He's new, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I found that he was A, bad at the game, and B, very squishy, and C, very high priority for enemies to attack.
Yes, they love to come and just mash on his face.
Yeah, so he was dying every fight. Not even Alicia could keep this man alive. And I was like, Claude's out. He's on the bench. My boy, Little Thom, the subject of the Red Cloak Deserter quest from last episode.
That's right. Little Thom is alive.
Yes, and
now,
he's in.
Did he have any dialogue for you?
I actually didn't. I forgot to talk to him in town. I forgot to.
Okay.
Did you talk to him in town?
No, I forgot as well. But I thought maybe you had. But yeah, I'm kind of curious as to where you been, my man.
Yeah, because he's
Farrah Kappa was looking for you. She's gonna come and take you out.
Yeah, he's the subject of a quest, and he just pops up as a henchman with very little to no explanation. He's listed as a brawler henchman. He's got an axe, so he does a decent amount of damage for a warrior. Axe is kind of like the damage weapon for warriors.
He has an incredible mustache as well.
He is an absolute goofball of a man visually. He looks like a circus ringmaster.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, Lil Thumb, amazing NPC. So I've been taking him. He's pretty good, but he makes pulling really difficult because as soon as I engage an enemy, he runs at him.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so I'm having a tough time pulling. So I'm doing a lot of double aggroing.
Right.
Which is a big struggle. So yeah, we're hashing that one out. I may even stop taking the Mesmer guy, Dunham. He's new also, I think.
Yes,
I think he's new. I may start taking Stefan instead of him and just go triple warrior. Like, if we're going to double aggro, we might as well do it right.
You might as well have some more help.
Yeah, I might as well have someone sturdy.
And Stefan likes to dance.
He does, yeah.
He likes to trash talk as well when he's running at the enemies.
He likes to dance 70s disco.
Yes, he does.
Which is the warrior dance, the male warrior dance. And you know what? I enjoy it. I'm here for it.
Yep.
With the fingers over the eyes. Yeah, they do the whole deal.
Oh yeah, the whole deal.
The dances in this game are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Did you run into any centaurs while you were out and about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I feel like the centaurs are very similar in Guild Wars 1 to the ones in Guild Wars 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't it went out of their way? You know how you'll have a romance novel cover with a hot centaur on it? The centaurs are hideous in Guild Wars. They're diabolical looking.
Yeah, they're not attractive, no.
And they're almost exclusively they're chaotic evil in Guild Wars 2. And they're kind of leaning on the same spectrum in Guild Wars 1 until we get to Nightfall, where we meet some nice ones.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of out and about. I didn't have any quests related to centaurs that I can remember. They're just kind of there.
They're just kind of there, and you kind of have to take them out. At least there's the ones that I ran into, I think they were only warriors and rangers.
Yeah, warriors and rangers. I think there is...
I think there's
some monks.
Yeah. Well? Yeah,
there's some monks, but they're real bad monks, so they're not really anything to worry about.
No.
They're really crappy protection monks.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have too much trouble with them. They're also level 8, so they're on the lower level end of the spectrum for enemies in this area. To give people... So I think what makes the content in this section of the game so difficult by comparison to maybe other sections is all the enemies are... The centaurs are level 8. Everything else is level 9 or higher. And there's a lot of level 10 plus enemies. And the henchmen are level 8 still.
Yes.
So I was really feeling that level mismatch between the henchmen and the enemies in the missions.
Yeah. And if you run across boss NPCs...
They're level 13.
They're level 13. I think I even ran across one that was level 14, and I'm like, this is not fair.
There is a 14, I think, in one of the missions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a big struggle gameplay-wise for me. We're going to hear more about that as we go forward. Did you do the quest Shiver Peak Stragglers?
Yes.
So this is the one where not everyone from Ascalon made it back to Yak's Bend. You get it from...
Osric.
Osric has this one. And you got to go find stragglers and bring them back. Turns out it's just one group. So you run out into Traveler's Vale and you find this lady and her family. And they follow you back. Did you go back out of the portal after doing this quest and get her follow-up quest?
I did.
Yeah, me too.
That's the second one that went into Ascalon Foothills.
Yeah, Oswald's Epitaph is what this called. What this is called. I'm speaking like an Etten because I've been fighting Ettins. Fun fact, we have encountered an Etten before in episode 1 in the vineyards in Green Hills County, but there's a lot more this episode.
Yes.
But yeah, so the lady... And why didn't I get her name? The lady...
Elsa. Her name is Elsa Alston.
Yeah, so she's the lady you rescue for the Shiver Peak Stragglers quest. And when you go back out of the Yak's Bend portal, she is standing there with a green exclamation mark over her head. And she has a follow-up quest called Oswald's Epitaph. Her husband died in the foothills, and they only had time to bury him in an unmarked grave. So you have to go and inscribe an epitaph on his grave marker. and you go find him, and his ghost shows up, and you tell him his family lived, and that telling him that his family lived allows him to go into the next world and be at peace. Yeah. That's a good quest. I like it. It
was a good quest. I thought it was very touching. And the dialogue that she gives you when you get the quest is, she tells you how he sacrificed himself so that they could live by essentially waving his arms and distracting the Hydra.
Yeah,
so
no, he just ran at it.
He ran them and threw rocks at them, and it's very I was getting again, Lord of the Rings. We've been bringing up Lord of the Rings quite a bit because we keep finding parallels to the stories. It just reminded me of Merry and Pippin throwing rocks at the orcs
at the Uruk-hai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over here. Yeah. This way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this quest. I think a genre of quest that I enjoy is do the thing that makes the ghosts be able to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've already done one of those in Old Ascalon in episode 2. So this is my second round, and I still like these kinds of quests. They're good. There was a few just quests that were hey, there's a shitload of Stone Summit in the way. Can you go kill them?
Yeah.
Road to Borless Pass and The Way is Blocked are basically the same quest.
Yes.
So I did them at the same time. Mm-hmm. Did you do the same?
I think I did, yes.
Yeah.
I know I did The Way is Blocked. And I must have done the other one as well.
Yeah, you basically just have to clear out hordes, and I'm not joking, it's hordes of Stone Summit that are just swarming the path.
So the enemy that I found the most annoying in The Way is Blocked, and they show up in other places as well, are the juniper barks. Did you come across these guys?
Yeah, I one-shot these guys. Why'd you find them annoying?
Because they have a skill called pacifism. And if you don't kill them quick enough, they will basically hex you with pacifism, and then you cannot attack, and you're just standing there, and you're great, I can't do anything. I can't even throw my pet at him.
They must have snuck up on you. They do pop up out of the ground.
They do.
They're the evolved Pokemon version of the aloe seeds from Ascalon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I think in the southern Shiver Peaks, we get the fully leveled Crown of Thorns version of this enemy that's level 24 and has Word of Healing.
Right.
Yeah. Those are fun to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you talk to Van the Warrior in Yak's Bend?
He had nothing to say to me.
Oh, okay. He has a warrior quest.
Yeah.
So
I figured that he'd... Yeah.
Yeah, can you guess what... I'll give you one guess as to what the quest involves.
Go kill Stone Summit?
Bingo! Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. He gives you a quest to go kill Stone Summit. Shocker. And something that annoyed me about this quest, did you notice what level Van the Warrior is?
I think he's level 2 or something. He's not that high.
No, Van the Warrior is level 20.
Shut up.
Yeah, why aren't you going and investigating the fucking patrol points? I'm level 13. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
so
he's got to send out the minions out there, the underlings, I should say.
Yeah, we've learned that Van the Warrior is incredibly lazy. He could go kill all these Stone Summit by himself, and he's sending the level 8 henchmen out to do it. So right. Van the Warrior, uncool. But I did his quest because I wanted the XP, and I could do it at the same time as all the other Kill Stone Summit quests.
Did you get any cool skills from him?
So I keep acquiring skills as quest rewards, and they're all bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my build's kind of locked in for a little bit. I know what I want to do with it, right?
Okay.
I want to get Earthshaker.
Right.
But guess what? At what point in the game you get Earthshaker?
Oh no! Don't tell me Ring of Fire or something like that.
Southern Shiver Peaks.
No.
Yeah, so my build is going to be incomplete for a good old long time. But I've got Mighty Blow, so it doesn't matter.
That's good.
Yeah, Mighty Blow is all... it's all a warrior needs. And so you cleared the way is blocked, and probably Shiver's Peak Stragglers for Osric. You couldn't have done the warrior quest for Van.
No.
And those kind of take you over to the Borless Pass mission outpost.
Yep.
Did you see the snow wolf tameable pet?
Yes, and I kept forgetting to take my Melandru stalker and put him away in the whatever, the menagerie, and go get a garm.
Yeah, it is a garm.
Garms are in Guild Wars 2.
It is, yeah, that's a garm. Yeah. For any Guild Wars 2 heads out there, garm.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Yak's Bend named Sebedo the Mesmer. Not a good name, honestly. Sebedo. Not working for me.
I think he has Mesmer quests.
I would imagine. Yeah. If you're
nothing to say to me.
If you're not a Mesmer, he says he hates the frozen baronet and infested mountains. And you know what? I fuck with this hard. This statement speaks to my soul.
A lot of the NPCs in Yak's Bend are complaining about the cold and that the fact that they're even there.
Yeah.
Why did we follow Rurik to this barren ice wasteland when we could have been at home in the desert barren wasteland in Ascalon?
Right, like Rin...
Maybe because there's Char.
Rin is essentially Las Vegas, okay?
Yeah.
It's the Las Vegas of Tyria, all right? Ascalon City is the Reno of Tyria. Changed my mind. It's definitely not the other way around. I did notate that these quests in between Yak's Bend and Borless Pass, I think they exist to teach you the finer points of aggro mechanics.
Yeah,
because
you've got a lot of stone summon that will just come at you if you are not careful.
Yeah, you have clumps of enemies, like 5 groups, but they're all together. And the only way I see to do this feasibly at the level you're supposed to be doing it is to pull with a bow. Like, right. I don't know who's just running in and bodying this at level 10, you know?
Yeah.
Osric, I did also notice that Osric uses the term as blind as a Dolyak, referring to something. I don't know. I don't even remember what he's talking about. But I thought it was interesting because that implies that Dolyaks are blind by default.
Right.
I don't think that's true, Osric.
No.
I think Osric's wrong. And I think that saying's bad. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay. It made you upset.
It did, yeah. There's a sweet ice golem boss named the Judge.
Yeah, I came across him.
Which is just a badass name for a boss.
Yeah. I know. I didn't have the quest to take him out, but I took him out anyway because I was like, who is the Judge?
I wonder if he's the Mesmer quest boss.
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Because I didn't have a quest for him
either. He was kind of pink, wasn't he? He had a kind of pinky.
I think he's an elementalist boss. But the pink on the blue makes it look purple sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then did you run into Devona in Traveler's Vale?
No.
Yeah, Devona's there.
That's good.
If you
zone, where she got to.
Yeah, I think what you have to do is you have to zone back into Traveler's Vale from Ascalon Foothills. And she will spawn there. And she'll just start running. You can talk to her. She will say nothing, not even a little speech bubble. She just runs. She doesn't go anywhere. I followed her for like 5 minutes. She just runs around aimlessly.
That's a little bizarre.
Yeah. So yeah, you can run into Devona just running around in Traveler's Vale. We have not seen Devona since pre-searing Ascalon.
I'm surprised she didn't have a quest for warriors.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. I feel ripped off because she told me to go kill some Grawl in pre-searing, and I died and decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I don't think she cares for me very much. That would be sweet if you completed that quest, though, and she had something to say to you about it. But I'll never know, because I didn't do it. And then, did you run into any singed oaks?
Yes.
Yeah, so we talked...
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we talked about the tree guys when we talked about the Melandru avatar in last episode. These are the, outside enemy versions of those.
Yeah, and they basically just, throw stuff at you.
Yeah, and they cast...
throw rocks and stuff at you.
They cast Spirit. Do they cast Muddy Terrain?
Yes. And Winter...
Winter. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, they cast Winter. Mm-hmm. They're kind of a pushover.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fun flavor, I guess. Because I think they're level 8. They don't really do... Mm-hmm. They don't really have any dangerous skills.
No. They're just there. And I'm like, what are these guys doing here?
Yeah. Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
I knelt at the statue of Grenth in Ascalon Foothills, and it did not have a quest for me.
Huh.
I'm going to keep doing that. I know barely any of them have quests, but I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care.
Did you get the blessing from him, or?
I didn't, no, because I was already on my way out. Like, I'd already done everything I needed to do.
Right.
I'm not going to pay this man 50 gold, you know?
Right, yeah.
I will say I've solved my money problems for the moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm up to, like, 2.4 platinum.
Well, look at you.
Yeah, no, I'm balling.
Hey, there are a lot of good drops, I will say. Well, you mean you're killing so many enemies, so they've got, like, good drops that they sell for well.
I've got a few purples, right?
Yeah, so did I.
Identified a few blues, got that improved sale value, you know?
I got one,
You got a gold.
Exotic. I got a gold, yeah.
Yeah. You sent that to me. It was an axe, right?
No, it was a shield.
It was a shield, yeah.
Yeah, you were like, nope, I'm a hammer boy. And I was like, all right, never mind then.
I am a hammer boy. I'm out here hammering.
I know.
So yeah, all that takes us, the last quest in, Yak's Bend that I did, was for Grand Mason Stonecleaver, who's a dwarf. Did you talk to this guy?
I think I did. I can't remember if he had anything to say to me.
So he asked you to go find his scout Rangil Ironbow.
Oh yeah, him. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the quest. This is the quest that starts you on your way towards the Iron Horse Mines.
Yes.
Did you do the quest chain in the Iron Horse Mines?
I did.
All right. So you went and found Rangil, who's near the portal to Iron Horse Mines.
Mm-hmm.
And did you find Artemis the Ranger on the way there?
I did.
Did you manage to save her?
So yes, and then when I was coming back to turn in the quest, she got killed.
Yeah, so
I had to zone back out and then zone back in and quickly run to her and take out the ice golems that were kind of coming up on her.
Yeah, it's great that she's right next to a portal because she is level 2.
Yeah,
and there is a group of
What are
enemies.
you doing over here? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a group of enemies right next to her, and they will kill her.
It boggles my mind, like the disparity in like the NPC levels. So like here's your dude, the warrior guy in the outpost, level 20, and here's Artemis the Ranger out in the open, level 2.
How'd she get there? How'd she make it?
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then you've got Van the Warrior with his ass parked on the couch at the outpost, level 20.
Right, level 20, yeah.
Watching TV, drinking soda, eating popcorn.
So did you take her quest, Stone Summit Beastmasters?
Yeah, I want to say this is a ranger quest. Now,
it is.
You asked me about snow beasts before we started the episode.
Right.
Did you read Artemis's quest dialogue?
I did. Yes.
This quest is about snow beasts.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so this is what a snow beast is. I did not know this before playing this episode.
I read it and I still like took it as like they're just big Doliacs.
The whole time I played this game since I was a kid, I thought these were Doliacs.
Yeah.
They are not. So I think they're called Stone Summit Beastmasters are the enemies. And it's referring to a guy riding on the back of like an upright, like colossal creature, right? Think like a Wampa from Star Wars. But it's all in armor, right? So you can't really tell what it is underneath.
Right.
You can't really properly see this thing. And the whole time playing this game, I was always just like, oh, I guess they're like Doliacs that they train to like walk on 2 legs, whatever. Right. These are, according to Artemis the Ranger, these are a creature called snow beasts, who are like literally Wampas, right? And they're native to the Shiver Peaks, and the Stone Summit enslaved them and like starve them and make them feral and vicious. And then they ride them into battle. Fascinating. I did not know that. I learned something.
Yeah, and basically she's like, go and take one on for Melandru and take out this guy, the leader. Thorgrim Beast Lasher is his name.
Yeah. So he's the level 14 one, I think.
He's level 13.
He's level 13. Okay.
He was surrounded by other of these, I guess, snow beast riders. I took him to be Dilix. He's like 3 others, and so many knockdown skills.
Yeah,
because of it.
Yeah, I was going to say they all use a skill called Giant Stomp, which is the most obnoxious skill in the game.
Yes.
Because it is a guaranteed knockdown unless you have like a skill that prevents knockdowns.
Yeah.
Which I don't, right?
No,
unless you have
neither.
What would be called in Guild Wars 2 a stability skill.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just sitting there getting knocked down, right? It's a pretty large group too. It's like 5 people that you have to fight.
Yeah,
I had a hard time with it.
There's really no way to pull them.
No,
So
yeah,
because they all just
group.
come at you because they're all in a clump, and I'm like, great.
Yeah, so I think something that this quest illustrates really well that I found interesting about this episode in particular is that when you think of Guild Wars 1, you usually think of the dangerous enemies as like elementalists, right? Like fire elementalists. Right. Or this episode, warriors are the bane of my existence. The warrior enemies are devastating everywhere in the Northern Shiver Peaks. In one of the quests, in this quest chain in the Iron Horse Mines, there's a group of like 11 Ettins that you have to fight all at once. And that might have been the hardest fight in the entire episode for me. Just a random group of Ettins out in the world.
Yeah.
Because
they were annoying. They hit you in the face. And then if you take Claude, they go after him and just wail on him.
Alicia's bald. She doesn't have a helmet.
No.
They're just going to split her head right open. Okay, that's an unpleasant image. But yeah, they hit my casters for like over 100 damage. They're level 11.
Yeah.
And they're hitting my casters for like over 100 damage a pop. They like chunk them for like over a third of their health. So yeah, just getting Stone Summit Axe guys hit really hard too. Yeah, if you have a lot of casters in your party, which I do to make up for me being a warrior. Right. I've just been having a bad time in the Northern Shiver Peaks with all these warriors. When I came up on Artemis the Ranger, she was just dead already. Because I had no idea she was there. I was just like, right. dead Artemis the Ranger. Yeah. Well, it's something or it's nothing. Right. So I wikied it and I was like, okay, I'll grab it when I zone back in. So yeah, I did that quest for her. She was happy that I killed the guy. I think she gave me a couple skills that I didn't find incredibly useful.
Yeah, Whirling Defense, Winter, and Call of Protection.
Here's the thing: Whirling Defense, great skill, costs 10 energy.
Yeah,
that's too much for me.
I think they were all cost 10 energy, so I did not equip any of them.
Yeah, my man's
I might later on.
Yeah, my man's got 20 energy with 2 pips of energy recharge. Okay. I can't handle 10 energy.
Do you have access to any like plus whatever energy armor?
Radiant insignias and
just not even with the insignias, just plus energy.
Yeah, warriors don't get that on their armor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to kit it out with attunement runes and radiant insignias if I wanted more energy.
Right.
And I shan't be spending my meager funds on runes on non-max armor.
Right.
So we're just gonna have to deal for now.
Gotcha.
Hopefully I can find a zealous sword at a collector somewhere sometime. My hopes are slim though.
Right.
So before we get into like the missions, let's talk about, so when you find Rangil Ironbow outside this portal to Iron Horse Mines for Grand Mason Stonecleaver, he thinks you're there to work for him, apparently. Yeah. He's like, boy, do I have a whole bunch of shit for you to do.
And you're like, I'm just passing through?
Yeah, I'm like...
This guy sent me.
I'm like, I'm supposed to find you to rescue you. I didn't come here for a part-time job. Like, but apparently I'm for hire. Right. So, the first quest we got to do for him is called Minar's Trouble. Mm-hmm. And these are all side quests. You don't have to do these. But this is kind of a smaller section of the game. So I was like, let's do it. Mm-hmm. So you got to rescue... And there's a lot of rescuing in this episode.
Yeah. A lot of people get trapped behind enemy lines.
A lot of people...
like, maybe I should have come with friends.
The Stone Summit really like capturing people and putting them in a cell, or not even in a cell, with their full armor and weapons equipped.
Yeah.
So that's great, because when you go rescue Rangil Ironbow's friend, he's got like an axe and a shield and full armor, and he's not even in a cell. He's just standing like in the middle of a forging area.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, though, he is surrounded by hordes of Stone Summit. Like, there's no way he could get out of there alive.
And Ettins.
And Ettins, yeah.
Sledge has a lot of Ettins around him.
So
I'm like, great.
many Ettins.
I took, what is my skill? I took my AoE fire skill. Where's my notes? And I used it basically to protect Alicia and Claude.
Okay, I mean, at least you went in with a strategy.
Inferno, that was my thing. And I was like, right, Alicia, I need to protect her because she's the only monk I have. And then Claude, when I saw that he was taking lots of pounding to the face, I was like, right, so I now have 2 to babysit. Right, okay. Inferno, come here.
What does Inferno do?
It's basically a ground or at your feet AoE fire skill that hits for like 40 some odd fire damage. It's great.
Oh, that's tight. I like that.
Yeah, and I learned of it when I was a bad elementalist in Nightfall, and so I've remembered it ever since. I'm just like, Inferno, right, I know what that does. You're coming with me.
Right, like it's the one spell you're just like, I know how to use this.
Yes.
Bingo. Yeah, I don't really, I can't strategize with the henchmen. I just run in and I'm like, good luck, Alicia.
Right, well, and you're frontline, so I'm like, mid to back line because I'm a ranger, so I have that comfort where I can just send in Stefan and my pet.
Well, and you can view the battlefield and what's happening.
Yeah.
I get to be on a monster, and then I play like zoomed in too, because I'm like, that's my like the thing that I'm doing. Uh-huh. And so I get that, and then I just look at my party members' health bars to know how the fight is going. And, right. The news isn't always good.
No. Yeah, so especially if you haven't, like, flagged them to kind of be a little bit away, where they can still hit, but...
Yeah, and I try to, like, I'm trying my best with the flagging, but man, little Tom he just likes to... He doesn't care.
No. It's something about the warriors in this game. I think they just kind of...
They're disrespectful.
I was going to say meatheads, but disrespectful is nicer.
Yeah, no, they are meatheads, including my character Aaron, who is also a meathead. Possibly the meatiest headed of them all. So I walked this guy Minar, right. Minaar.
Yes.
An Aaron in his own right.
Right.
An Aanar. No, that doesn't work. For so many reasons. I walked him back to Traveler's Vale, and there's so many dwarves, I'm losing their names. Rangil.
Rangil, yeah.
He's like, thanks for doing that. Would you like to look into this very big war machine that the Stone Summit are building in that same area that you just cleared out and now have zoned out of, so now it's full of enemies again?
Yeah, you gotta go do it again.
Yeah, so we plow through all the enemies in Iron Horse Mine again. Iron Horse Mine has some tougher Stone Summit. So we meet Dolyak riders here, who are actually like semi-competent monks who are pretty difficult to deal with if there's just one of them, and very bad if there's 2 of them. Because you have to kill them first. And if they've got like axe guys with them, those axe guys can just wail on my casters while I'm trying to deal with these monks. It's a nightmare. There's some pretty big groups. The group before the boss to steal these plans for this war machine was really hard, and then the boss group itself was very easy.
Yeah, I found the boss group with the boss, great name here, or Dark Whip.
Yeah, I like Dark Whip. That's cool.
Yeah. I found him to be very tanky, because he just kept popping his healing signet, and I'm like, bruh, I really need you to just die already. Stop it with the healing signet.
So interesting. If you've got 2 warriors in your group, he goes down very fast, because
that makes sense.
What healing signet does is you're charging a heal, but it drops your armor -40 while you're charging it. And it's got like a 3-second charge. So while 2 warriors are hitting you with physical damage with -40 armor, you drop pretty quick.
See, I was like, I had my ranger, and then I had Orion, Elementalist, Claude, Necro, Dunham, Mesmer.
Yeah, and what you'll find did you check out Claude's skills?
Yeah, they're all like shadow magic.
One of them is Deathly Swarm, which is like a hard-hitting skill. It does like a lot of damage, but it's got like a 3-second charge up.
Yeah.
So what I found, the reason I kicked Claude out is because I'm killing most enemies before he even finishes that skill. Oh, so yeah. I'm not like getting anything out of his best skill.
Yeah.
So I found him to not be a good match for my meathead comp.
Right.
Me and Little Tom and Alicia are the meathead kings and queens. And I think Stefan might be joining the brigade soon.
Yeah. So was he or Dark Whip? Did you find him in a group with a second boss?
No, I think you might have double grouped.
I had 2 bosses in this group. I had or Dark Whip, the warrior, and then I had Garrus Nightwatch, a ranger boss that was just hanging out with him.
Was he hanging out with him, or is it a patrol group that came?
Nope, he was hanging out with him. He was kind of in the back, but they were still very much grouped together. And I was like, okay, great. I've got. I'll take out the warrior first. So I kind of tried to pull the warrior away from the ranger, and then it kind of worked. So I didn't have to deal with the ranger as well.
If he was there, I didn't even notice him.
He was glowy green. You couldn't have missed him. He's like a little dwarf.
Keep in mind, boss spawns are random in prophecies.
Yeah.
So I could have gotten a different boss that didn't have a name that stood out as much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I even have on one of my notes for this quest, bullet point, the boss was very easy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so it. I guess my party comp really worked out for that quest.
Yeah, that did, yeah.
So then we get those battle plans, and we run them all the way back to Rangil after hacking and slashing our way through this zone for the second time. And what does he want us to do now?
He wants you to go back.
He does, yeah. he wants
you to go back. He's all, hey, I've noticed that these guys have come through with some dynamite, basically. Can you just go and take out the lever controls for the weapon, and that'll be great.
Yeah, and of course...
Go now.
And of course, I look at my quest log, and it's 9 fucking control levers.
Yeah, 9.
Like, did it need to be 9? Luckily, you can blow several of them up at a time, so it's not so bad.
And they're they're what, 3 groups of 3.
Yeah, but
a little bit better.
Did you miss a lever on any of them though?
No, once I saw that they were all clumped together, and I was like, I wonder if this barrel of dwarf explosive will hit 2 at the same time, and they did, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, I screwed one up, and I only hit 2 levers out of 3, so I had to do an extra barrel.
I had to do two barrels per group because I could never get the one to blow up all 3, so I'd always have to do, because they were kind of like, there was always like 2 that were closer together, and then one that was like in a triangle. They were always sort of in a triangle formation, and I'm like,
and of course the 2005 polygon based collision. And then when you drop the barrel, you have no idea where on the ground that barrel is going to end up.
No.
When you drop it. I did manage to find the sweet spot for 2 of the lever locations where it would hit all 3, but I missed it on one of them. Yeah. So yeah, I went the other way on this quest. Like, I'd been going through the mines on the first 2. I was like, I'm going around this time just for a change of damn scenery.
Right.
And it turned out to be the better way to go for the quest.
Okay, well, that's good.
Less enemies, more direct. Did you go the same way every time?
I did. Yeah, I was like, I should go that other route, but kind of, I don't want
to. That must have been a slog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But at the same time, there was some familiarity with the enemies, so I'm like, right, okay, I know what's coming.
Right, you know how to handle that atrocious group. And once you're not on the Mynar's Trouble quest anymore, that group of Ettins is not nearly as big.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, smaller Ettin group on the subsequent quests. So it's specifically for that one quest that it's out of control with the Ettins. I don't think we went over what Ettins actually are. They're giant, like, troll guys with 2 heads.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of a popular fantasy monster. They usually have 2 heads when they're in a fantasy game. I think they're in Forgotten Realms as like hill giants with 2 heads. Same general concept. Except, like, not very humanoid at all. Mostly just monstrous looking.
Mm-hmm.
And they have giant clubs. They look like the troll from, like, the first Harry Potter movie. But it just
that's
like
exactly
two
what
heads.
I was going to say. Yeah.
Bingo. When you get back...
Or the cave troll from...
that's even better, actually. Yeah, they look like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, 100%. Yeah, lots of Lord of the Rings inspiration in Guild Wars 1. Heavily inspired. Including the club.
Mm-hmm.
So once you take this, once you sabotage the war machine successfully by blowing up the control levers and bring that news back to Rangel, he says that he saw the explosion from a distance, and he said it was a bigger explosion than when he dropped a pipe in a pile of dragonstone. I don't know what dragonstone is in reference to the Guild Wars universe.
I mean...
What is Dragonstone?
I don't know, but it could be poop.
That's your first guess? Like, of all that?
I don't know. Yeah, that's my first guess.
Like, the massive lexicon of crafting materials they have added to Guild Wars 2, and your guess was poop.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Did you look it up? Did you find out what it is?
I did not, no.
Okay.
I do think it's funny that they have all these, like, all these different, like, ascended crafting materials and exotic crafting materials and map currencies in Guild Wars 2, and I cannot think of a single one that is called Dragonstone.
No, I don't. I'm looking it up on the wiki, and I don't even think it's linked.
It literally only appears in this man's dialogue in this obscure quest in the section of the game that is the least played. I enjoy this.
Maybe they meant to add it in as like a crafting material, because I mean it could probably be like the granite slabs.
Clearly it's explosive in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys, sound off in the comments what the hell is Dragonstone in Guild Wars.
Not poop. That's
for
sure.
Miko thinks it's poop. We'll find out what you guys think. And I think that was kind of the last thing I did before jumping into missions. I kind of did the missions back to back.
Yeah, I did the missions back to back, and I left the side quests till later, and I think you did the quests first. I
did do the quest for it because I wanted to be as high level as I could be for the missions, because I remember these missions being hard. Boreless Pass was pretty not too bad. I had a real tough time at the Frostgate.
Okay, so let's talk about Boreless Pass then.
Yeah.
What do we have to do? What are our objectives?
So you get to the Boreless Pass outpost, and I don't want to mess this person's name up because we've got another great name rolling in here for our podium guy. Their name is Beecham Reedley or Beckham Reedley, or Beacom Reedley.
Right.
I don't know which it is. Beccum. I have no idea how to pronounce that name.
I would probably say that's a Beacom.
Beacom, yeah, Beacom Reedley. What a legend. I didn't take any notes on what they had to say at their podium, but I believe it is that... Oh, I have them lower down. Rurik left to negotiate with King Jalis Ironhammer, who is the Deldrimor Dwarf King. They're the good guy dwarves. So Rurik has gone to a place called... And we're just cranking out the bangers with names here. Yeah. Grubel's Gulch.
Grubel's Gulch, yeah.
Whew, what a good... That's a name straight out of like a 90s like console platformer game. That's like a Banjo-Kazooie name. Grubel's Gulch.
Yes.
It's incredible.
So off you go.
Yeah.
Off you go to Grubel's Gulch. You gotta go find Rurik because he's gone off on his own.
Yep.
Or he's gone ahead.
And there's a big storm going.
Yes.
Snowstorm, visibility is low. It's a blizzard, essentially. Miko, are we done with Lord of the Rings references in this episode yet? Or do we have a big one coming up?
I think we've always got some more.
Yeah, because the Beacons of Gondor are lit.
Oh yeah, that's like the big thing in this Boreless Pass, yeah.
In this mission. Yeah.
You get to light the beacons. You get to be... who was lighting them?
Just those. So they have this is turning into a Lord of the Rings podcast. But they've got in the movies at least. I haven't read the books since I was like a teenager in high school. But right. in the movie, they've just got men that like live in the middle of the mountains just in case they need to light a beacon.
Oh yeah, that's their job.
Yeah, they're just beacon guys. You gotta keep the beacon guys on the payroll.
That's right.
You never know when the Haradrim are coming.
That's right. How else are you going to let your allies know that you're in trouble and need help?
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So the Deldrimor dwarves are too poor for beacon guys to be on duty at all times.
No, so they need you.
Yeah, so they need us. Rurik apparently does not need the beacons lit. He just goes right through the blizzard blind.
I mean, that's Rurik for you.
It really is, yeah. And he somehow gets to where he's going. At typical Rurik fashion, he has gone off by himself.
And then he's gotten pinned down.
Yeah, exactly. And he's trapped at Grubel's Gulch. And we gotta go through the storm. We gotta light the beacons so that the refugees can follow behind us. And we gotta get to Rurik because we've got to rescue him because he's in trouble, right? Right. So did you have any trouble lighting these beacons, getting to Grubel's Gulch? No,
I remembered this. I remembered this mission, and I can't remember. I think I liked this mission because probably I get to light the beacons and feel like I'm in the Lord of the Rings.
And there's a big beacon at the end.
Yes. And you have to light 3 little things around it but this one is special. This is a special beacon, the last one.
Oh yeah, it's blue because it's magical.
It's magical. Deldrimor fire.
Yeah. And so one more thing I did learn from the podium guy actually. Leader of the Stone Summit, a dwarf rather, named Dagnar Stoneplate.
Dagnar Stoneplate, yes.
10 out of 10 name. Yep. Gildor's just cranking out the bangers.
Yeah.
And that's the first time we hear this name, I think.
Yes.
It won't be the last.
Yes. No.
And that's the podium guy, Beacom. He also says, or she, it might have been a she.
It's a she.
Yeah, it totally is. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that tell us that the Stone Summit are slavers. So specifically, they keep and run slaves in like slavery to do work. That's bad, guys.
Yeah, they don't like humans.
They don't. No, they don't like much of anyone who isn't a Stone Summit dwarf. They'll enslave anybody. They're the guys that enslaved the Dredge originally. Mm-hmm. Dredge, a thing in Guild Wars 2. They're a thing in Guild Wars 1 also, but not yet.
Yes, but not yet.
So yeah, I blew through these beacons. There's just some like centaurs, and there might be some Stone Summit in the way.
Yeah, mostly centaurs though.
Yeah, lots of centaurs out just playing in the blizzard.
Yeah, and why they're hanging out around the beacons, who knows? We don't know. But they're there.
Yeah, because they're not lit, right? It's not like they're warming their hands by the fire.
No.
You got to have an enchanted torch that I don't know who gives us this enchanted torch, but we get one.
So the first torch that we get is just a regular torch.
Is it? We don't get the enchanted one until we get to Grubel's Gulch?
Yes.
Okay.
We get the enchanted one we get from Jealous Ironhammer, which is a great name.
Yes.
And he is the king of the Deldrimor.
Yes. And I do have a note here that says, let's see. I have a note that says capital fuck giant stomp. And then I have one that says priest of Dagnar fucked my shit up.
Wow.
Yeah, did you fight this priest of Dagnar guy? He's like a level 13 or 14 elementalist boss.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Dude's a monster.
Fun fact, when I ran Borless Pass, I was so excited at the end of episode 3 playthrough about a 6-party, a 6-man party. I was so excited that I promptly forgot to bring 2 more henchmen.
You foremanned it.
I foremanned it, right? So I'm going along, and I get out of Yak's Bend. I go through Traveler's Vale. I get all the way to Borless Pass, foreman. And I'm like, cruising. Not cruising, because I was being careful, because I got my little...
It hasn't even struck you that what you're doing is ludicrous.
No, and it's like, literally, like, you watch my video, and it says, clearly, 4 out of 6 on my party comp. But did I notice this? No, because I was just like, yeah, I'm getting a borderless pass. All right, here we go.
Autopilot.
And so I got all the way there, and I got all the way to this priest, which is about halfway through the mission, basically.
You're pretty far in if you get this far.
I'm pretty far in, and I got stuck on this motherfucker. He killed Alicia. He killed Stefan. Orion must have popped his res sig. I did not have a res sig. And I'm like, all right, Orion, I've flagged you around over here. Come on and go and res at least your monk friend. Did he do it? Nope. No. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we need them back. I don't want to restart this mission. And he wouldn't do anything. And so I was like, I'm going to have to restart this mission. So I had to resign.
When the next day. Restarting a mission in Guild Wars is like the most crushing feeling.
It was. I was like, I'm so done for my playthrough tonight. I will continue this tomorrow.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, next mission it's my turn to rerun the mission.
Oh gosh.
So we'll hear about that soon. Yeah, this Priest of Dagnar guy, he's an air elementalist.
Oh, so annoying.
I think
he's a spike damage.
Yeah, I think he's a Doliak rider, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. And he's got another Doliak rider friend, and then some other Stone Summit. And
he's got a skill called Crack Armor, which lowers your armor. And then he has very high damage air elemental skills, which also have a chance to penetrate armor.
Yes.
So your armor does not matter to Mr. Priest of Dagnar.
No, he's just like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
And he does.
He does. Yeah, I managed to make it through by tanking most of the damage on my main character, who has a lot more health than the henchman.
Right.
And he almost killed me.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that's how we got through that. So you redid the mission with 6 people?
I did.
Much easier, huh?
Oh, my gosh. It was like, did I even hit that guy? And it was like, oh, I took him out. He was like dead a long time ago. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's just continue on.
Yeah, and then did you do the bonus for Borderless Pass?
I did, because I want that sweet XP.
It's 1,000 XP. When you're not level 20, 1,000 XP is hard to turn your nose up at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did the bonus as well. It's pretty easy. You rescue... We're rescuing more dwarves from the Stone Summit. We rescue...
Rornak Stone Sledge.
Yeah, so Rornak Stone Sledge. They got kind of like a similar thing to the Char going on with their names.
Yeah, I was going to say, he must be related to... What was it?
Rocks.
One of our... What?
Oh.
Rocks?
Well, isn't she like in the Pickaxe Warband or whatever? I was like, my man's in the Sledge Warband. They've got to be neighbors or some shit, right?
I don't know. Yeah, but he's like related to another one of these like dwarf people that we run across in these other side quests.
And I can't find. Oh, well, so did you notice...
Minar Stone Sledge, so they gotta be friends.
Oh, is Minar a Stone Sledge?
Yeah.
Because I just called him Minar in my notes. The Stone Sledges, very, very, very bad at behind enemy lines scouting. They need a different job. Yeah. Because who do we have to rescue in the next mission?
In the next mission?
Did you not notice this?
Oh, Is he a Stone Sledge as well?
Rornak Stone Sledge is the guy we rescue in the next mission also.
I didn't realize that he was the same dude. We had to rescue him twice. So
when you talk to him in the Frostgate mission, he goes, well, looks like I got myself caught again. Yeah, no, the Stone Sledges need a new line of work. Scouting is not their forte.
But you know, they infiltrate, and they're the ones that discovered, they discover the secret weapons. This is the second. Okay, well, we'll talk about the secret weapons.
They do
in the next one, but yeah.
Well, and he discovers that they've got this ice drake in this mission. That's like that's their secret weapon for this. They got an ice drake, right? So we got to go kill him. He's like level 1 billion air elementalist, but he's not nearly as hard as the Priest of Dagnar.
No, he's like super easy.
And are there?
He's got a good name.
Does he?
Whiskar Featherstorm.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
I wrote it down and I was like, that is an awesome name.
For some reason, I was just thinking it was called Ice Drake.
No. And I was like, where's the Ice Drake? Oh, wait, who's this Whiskar? Oh, that is the... Okay, great.
Now, did this cave have Driders in it, or are the Driders not till the next mission?
No, it's this one.
Yeah, so what are Driders?
Spiders. They're necro spiders. They will shoot you with shadow magic.
You know, you know what my favorite thing about Driders is?
They die easy.
They do die easy. They have like negative armor class.
Yeah.
But if you look at their models, some of them in their like tiny upward pointing hands are holding like a little staff.
Get out.
Yeah, no, they're holding a little staff sometimes.
You get up close to them because you got to go like mash their faces in, but I don't get to see their faces. And their hands.
They've got like a little baby staff in their hand above
cute.
their head sometimes.
That's cute.
Yeah, so they're kind of these really accursed looking spider arachnid type things. They kind of look like the bugs from Starship Troopers, actually. And yeah, they make your health bar purple, which is never good. It always gives me anxiety.
Hex you. Yeah, they hex you.
And they make warriors attack real slow. Because they have a skill that a hex that makes you attack real slow. So I don't like that. But I hit them for like 100 damage. So I like that. Matter. Yeah, exactly. It more or less the scale is even. So yeah, they're level 10, but they're not too bad. You can chew your way through them pretty easily. And Ice Drake was easy enough to take out. Easy 1000 XP bonus. And then I think after that you get to Grubal's Gulch pretty soon, right?
Yes. Once you take your little detour, you can then continue on. You meet up with Rurik.
We finally meet Rurik. And what does Rurik do the second that we catch up with him?
He runs off again.
He fucking runs off again. We did this whole mission to rescue this guy, and he's like, "I must be off."
You showed up. I'm so glad. Because I got stuck here in Crocs Hollow. But I'm gonna go off now. You go talk to Jealous, and I'll meet you on the other side. And you're like, "Bro, really?"
Yeah. This genuinely, not even like satirically, I was genuinely annoyed here. I don't care for Prince Rurik at this point.
Yes. So, but we have to go off and talk to King Jealous Ironhammer.
The king of the dwarves.
He is the king of the Delvermore dwarves. And we tell him that we honor the old alliances. Because he's just like, hey, thanks for showing up. We will give you safe passage. You can shelter at our place over here. And that's when he gives you the enchanted beacon.
To light the
big beacon, to let his brother, I think it is, know that
Breknar,
you're on Breknar.
Yeah,
Breknar
of
Iron
Beacon's Perch.
Yes, and so he's like, my brother will give you safe passage.
Now, did you notice anything visually interesting about Jealous Ironhammer during this cutscene?
Other than they look like the dwarves from Lord of the Rings.
Well, okay. That's not what I meant, but they do. But I think that's just a dwarf thing. Well, yeah. I also think it's a big miss by Anet not having us choose between going over the mountains or through the mines.
Right.
Because we literally have the Iron Horse mines right up there, right really for the...
Yeah, but the Delvermore dwarves, they just like live on top of the mountains. So you're just kind of like... I wrote down, I was like, we have to go over the mountains and not under them. So I wrote the same thing.
Yeah, ArenaNet taking a divergent turn there. No, yeah. What happened for me in my cutscene here is Jealous had a green exclamation mark over his head for the entire cutscene. I
know. He didn't, and mine, the exclamation point went away once I started talking to him.
Oh yeah, no, it was there the whole cutscene for me. Yeah, so he does the whole cutscene with that over his head if you manage to bug the game out. God knows what I did to do that. So yeah, giant storm beacon.
What did you think of the dwarf voice acting?
So most of the voice acting was rough, as it is throughout the whole game. But I actually didn't have any notes on it. Did you notice anything that stood out about it?
I mean, they all sort of talk like this, and it's like this pseudo. I don't know what it's an attempt at. Scottish or something, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it for all of them, and okay, it's like the dwarf voice.
I did notice something that so we're noticing a lot of things about the dwarves. Yeah. the Deldrimor Scouts. So the Deldrimor Scout is like they're in the cutscene. Like there's a point where a scout like runs up to you and he like has something to say. These scouts are people who like eyesight and vision is very important for them, right? It's like kind of their whole deal. The Deldrimor Scouts' helmets cover their eyes completely. Like
you're right.
Zero visibility.
Yeah.
It's like an animal head, like a skinned animal head, and the nose and eyes and mouth portion of the animal head is directly over their eyes.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible. It'd be a horrible piece of headgear for any scouter to wear.
But they tell Breknar that the beacon has been lit. And
the Beacons of Gondor are lit, yeah.
Yeah, the Beacons of Gondor are lit, and they're like, there's no way. Breknar's like, no. Why would Jealous light the thing? I don't know, but there's like a whole bunch of like humans coming. Well, open the door because they wouldn't have gotten through Jealous without his permission.
Yeah.
And he's like, let him in. And then you run in and he's just like, come, we'll shelter you.
Yeah, and that's at the... So is the place we meet Jealous at, or the place we meet Breknar at Grubel's Gulch?
Grubel's Gulch well, you go through Grubel's Gulch. I think Grubel's Gulch is supposed to be where Beacon's Perch?
No, because I mixed up Beacon's Perch with Frostgate. So Beacon's Perch is where we go after Frostgate.
Oh, after Frostgate.
Frostgate is where we go after Boreas Pass.
Right.
But is Grubel's Gulch the actual name of the Frostgate outpost?
I think so, yes. Because where you meet up with Rurik was Croc's Hollow, and that's where
Croc's Hollow, that's the one I'm missing. Okay, yeah. I've got it now. Croc's Hollow, Grubel's Gulch, Beacon's Perch. Okay.
Light the beacons to lead the people up through the pass to Grubel's Gulch, and then light the special Deldrimor beacons.
Right. Okay. and lighting the big beacon is very easy compared to the rest of the mission. There's
you've got 3. It's like a group, a big torch or big beacon of like 3. So you've got to light all 3 of them.
And they're each guarded by like one Stone Summit Beastmaster.
Yeah. Pretty
easy stuff.
Yeah.
No problems finishing the mission. The hard part of the mission is definitely the Priest of Dagnar.
Yes.
If you can get past that, you've won.
Yeah.
And so we meet up with Rurik and the homies at Grubel's Gulch.
Yes. And
it spawns us into an outpost called the Frost Gate, which is another mission. So it's back-to-back missions, kind of like Sirmia and Nolani. Mm-hmm. And if you talk to the podium guy at Frost Gate, I didn't even write it.
Larthan Iron Tongue.
Iron Tongue. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
ArenaNet just had like a couple guys on names, and they were like, just give us as many as you can. And they picked all the best ones.
Yeah.
They say the only way to Kryta is through Stone Summit territory, a big old gate called the Frost Gate. It's got 3 switches, and guess who's got to turn them on? Us. Yep. So this was another mission. So when you enter the mission, Rurik is in the mission, but he's like inaccessible.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this, so I was running around trying to figure out how to get to Rurik for like longer than I care to admit.
So Larthan tells you that you've got to take the high road while Rurik takes the low road.
Right.
And you're like, okay.
Right. I didn't take the podium guy literally enough. My mistake. I will be taking podium guys at their word going forward.
I mean, that's why they're on their little soapbox.
Yeah, no, he's raised up. Anything he says is law.
Yeah, that's right. But you also find out from Larthan that Dagnar Stonepate is Jealous Ironhammer's cousin.
Yeah. So Breknar is his brother, Dagnar cousin. You can see where the resentment comes from. Right. Dagnar's pretty far behind in the line of succession.
In the line of succession, he's just like that guy, and he's like a human lover.
Yeah.
He's got alliances with like these little things on 2 legs. Or tall things on 2 legs.
I was going to say, I think dwarves have 2 legs. Call me crazy.
Well, yeah, but they're taller.
Yes.
Or the dwarves are shorter. So yeah.
Bingo. And hydras do have 3 heads.
3 heads, yes.
Hydras 3 legs, dwarves 2 legs, humans tall. I think we've got it all sorted out.
That's right.
And we run into, in this mission at the beginning, we run into one more enemy that I don't think we've seen in the game yet. Minotaurs.
Yeah. Minotaurs. Yes, I wrote that down.
They're pretty basic. They're pretty basic bitch warriors.
Mm-hmm.
They're not anything particularly interesting. They look like minotaurs.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little more wild. Like in traditional fantasy, a minotaur like walks on two legs and has a big old axe. These are just like wild bull.
Yeah. And they'll come and stomp you.
Yeah, they come in packs of like 5. And if you're not careful, if they all get wailing on one of your casters at once, they will die.
My minotaurs were they were attacking Claude, so I had to stand next to Claude, take damage myself, and cast Inferno, and then shoot arrows into their faces.
Rangers have pretty good armor rating, because you guys get only a little bit less armor than warriors.
Yeah.
And you got like a bunch of elemental resistance on your armor by default, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that elemental resistance. I get physical damage resistance.
Right. But, it was kind of annoying that I had to babysit the Claude over here while he's taking all of this minotaur stomping to the face.
The Claude? Is that what he asks people to call him? The Claude? Right. I'm the Claude.
I'm the Claude. Yeah. So he was taking the Ettins to the face, and now he's taking the minotaurs to the face.
Yes. And in my first run-through of this, I accidentally skipped the first cutscene. Because I was like paranoid about getting the bonus done correctly, and of course I did it wrong.
Right.
So my first run through was a disaster. I failed the bonus, and then I died at the very end of the mission.
No!
Yeah.
That's the most annoying.
Yeah, it was a disaster. How did your first run of the mission go?
So I shot it. It was a one and done.
Yep.
Because I'm ranger and I can hang back.
And you listened to the podium guy.
I listened to the podium guy. Took the high road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where? What? It took me a little bit to like find the high road, and I was like, where is this thing? And I'm like trying to like follow the map on the wiki, and I'm like, where is this turning? Until I found the little crumbs of enemies that were all minotaurs, and I could just go.
Did you have any trouble with the really tightly packed groups of ice golems on the bonus?
No, because I hung back and I tried to pull if I could, so I would try to like pick off like maybe 2 at a time if I could. My pet would just charge in as soon as I shot an arrow, and then sometimes Stefan would run in, and if he didn't, I had to get a little bit closer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had to just like pull them as much as I could and then hope for the best. And there were some close calls, but so the bonus comes up pretty quick because the point of this mission is pretty much fight your way to the Frost Gate and activate the switches.
Right. So you've got to destroy the ballista to secure Rurik's and the refugees' safe passage. Yeah,
otherwise they'll get blown to pieces. And one of the bridges you have to stand on, you get blown to pieces on. So before you destroy the ballista. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple boss groups. They're kind of hard. Mm-hmm. There's some big groups. There's that when you start the bonus, the first group you have to fight on that diverging little side path.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I my first time fighting that, I had Rornak die, so I failed the bonus right there.
Oh, no.
And then every single person, including me and my party, died at least once in that fight and was resurrected.
So I followed the wiki's advice to go and clear the path so that Rornak wouldn't take damage. So I did that first.
I did that the second time that I did this. The second time, everything went very smoothly because I actually read through So I didn't read through the wiki on this the first time. I was like, I'm just going to do it. Bad idea. So yeah, the first time I failed the bonus and then I died at the end. Second time, things went better. I read the wiki. I figured out how to do it. So yeah, you rescue Rornak again. Same guy we rescued in the last mission bonus. He's like, I got captured again in whatever that weird dwarf voice they do is.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's got a voice in this one because he doesn't get a cutscene.
No, but I'm reading it that way in my head.
Their voices, yeah.
Yeah, and he wants you to. So we've already done a quest, like out in the open world, open quote unquote instance world. where we had to like sabotage a big war machine that the Stone Summit are building. This is that.
Right.
He's found he knows where some plans are, and we gotta take him to a ballista, but so he can fix the ballista so he can fire it at the gate.
Right.
Because I was annoyed with him at first, because I was like, why can't I just shoot this ballista? But he describes it as a decrepit ballista, meaning it's broken.
But
what a bizarre way to describe a broken ballista.
But you did get to shoot it, didn't you?
He shoots it. You don't get to shoot it.
I got to shoot it.
No, okay, he fixes it, and then you can shoot it. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I don't know. I was annoyed, because I was like, I should be able to just press this, because it doesn't look broken. It's just a ballista.
No, it doesn't look broken at all.
Yeah, so I was like, why doesn't this work? But he fixes it for you. You blow the door open to where the secret plans are kept safe behind maybe 25 ice golems.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, I will wait here. You go get it and then come back.
Yeah, I don't think I like RPG NPCs very much. They're all very lazy and have very high expectations and don't really give much back in return. I think I'm going to start playing something else. No, I like RPGs. So I did this for Rornak because I'm a good protagonist.
Right. And
I like experience.
Yes.
I found the ice golems kind of challenging. Miko waded through them.
I mean, they were still annoying, but...
Yeah, I kind of just had to take it slow.
Yeah, that's kind of like the name of the game, really, especially with henchmen.
Yeah, it's a slow-paced game. You
have to be careful.
Yeah, it's almost like radical how nothing like Guild Wars 2 it is.
No.
Like the two games, as far as their philosophy and approach to gameplay, could not be more polar opposite. So yeah, I managed to get through that. I got the plans, brought them back to him, got my XP. So that the second time through, that went well.
Yes, and then so we meet up with Rurik again before you could I triggered the cutscene before I did the bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, great, go on ahead, lead the refugees through, and I'll hold them off.
Right, finally Rurik...
Me and my boys will hold off the Stone Summit while you lead the refugees through. And you're like, are you sure?
Right, like, because I've been escorting you this whole time with the express, like, mission of getting you there safely.
Yes, because you have the suicidal tendency of, rushing in.
And now he's like, now that we've made it this far, let's change roles.
Yeah, and he's like, the Stone Summit won't give up the Frostgate easily. He invokes Dwayna to protect them, and I was like, that is not a good sign.
He's
I fear for suicidal dude.
He makes a lot of snap decisions that don't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he decided to leave Ascalon forever.
Yeah.
And because he has enough support in Ascalon, I feel like, to not leave, even if Adalbern technically banishes him, right?
Right.
But he just he went from wanting to fight for his country to just I'm ready to go. And then here he goes from busting his being on our side, busting his ass to get everyone through safely, to be like, we'll hold the line while you get away.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, okay, guy.
Yeah. But we don't really have a choice but to work with him on this. So.
Right. And he's the prince.
Exactly.
Even though he's not anymore.
Well, yeah, no, according to the first cutscene, we are in fact Ascalonian, so we are subservient to Mr.
And we still consider him the prince, even if Adalbern banished and disowned him.
Does Adalbern and Rurik have a last name?
I mean, they probably do, but it's like the royals. Does anyone use their last name?
I don't know. Yeah, I've never thought about it before until, because I called him. I was about to call him Mr. Rurik, and then I was like, what's his last name? I truly don't know. Yeah, I bet somebody knows. It's probably in a book somewhere. So we have to go open the Frostgate by tripping these 3 switches. You got to take a lever and put it into a slot and then pull it, and then take it back out and take the lever to the next slot. What an inanely designed gate.
I mean, the thing is that, like, you put the gear lever in, you pull it, and the game, thankfully, just pops the lever out for you, and you get to pick it up and drag it around with you again.
Did the game, so on, on one of the lever switches, it's like right up against, it's like on a cliff.
Yes, and it drops behind the
It drops the lever behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
While you have to waste time doing this while enemy mobs are flooding in because they have constantly spawning enemies during this segment.
Yeah.
But
I remember when I first ran this as like a newbie, I found this part really challenging. This time it didn't feel as bad. Like the enemies storming through didn't seem as numerous, and I don't know if that's a tweak or if I bugged the game out. I don't know.
No, so they come in small enough groups. They come in groups of like 3 or 4. It's small enough groups to where you can have your henchmen handle it while you run the lever.
Right.
Which is what I did on my successful run. On my non-successful run, I I did not kill all the immediate enemies first. And so I had to deal with the spawning enemies plus the static enemies, and I died. Yeah. So on my second run, I made sure to clear everything out and then start slotting the levers, and that worked a lot better. And there is a cutscene at the end of the mission.
Yes, after we've gotten the gate to open, we start pointing the refugees through, and we're like, go that way.
Yep, we've got like one of those runway glow sticks, and we're pointing and waving it in a circle.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we hear kind of a roar, and we're like, what was that? And we start going back, trying to find out what happened.
That's exactly what the male protagonist sounds like, by the way. What was that?
And we see Dagnar Stonepate riding in on an ice drake.
And what boss aura color does he have when he's riding in on the ice drake?
He's got a red aura, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep that in mind.
And he sees, what's going on, the humans, who he hates, streaming through the frost gate, and he sees Rurik, who, he's out there with his boys, and it's really just him. He's getting a little winded fighting the Stone Summit. He actually, takes a breath.
Yeah, that's a toggleable emote that you can do as a player. I don't remember what the emote is. But yeah, you can do that emote.
Yeah. And so Rurik is taking a breather, and you're like, bruh, there's a dude riding a drakey horse.
A horse dragon.
And he's coming up behind you. And he triggers off essentially an avalanche.
Does.
And a tree falls on Rurik, to no one's surprise. Because if you've been paying attention, you know that Rurik is going to get himself killed. It was inevitable.
Destiny. Yeah, the game is telegraphing this real hard. This actually might be good storytelling through gameplay. Right? Yeah. Because if anyone's been paying attention to how Rurik acts, this is not surprising.
Yeah, and there's 2 really, I thought, pretty good foreshadowing pieces. In that one, he tells you to go on ahead because the Stone Summit won't give up the Frostgate, and then he invokes Dwayna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's some Final Destination shit.
Yeah, and then the second one is that you've never fought separately from him because you're always babysitting his butt.
Yeah.
And so that he won't get killed, and the one time that you're not with him, he gets killed.
He does.
So he gets pinned by a tree.
Yep.
You run up and you're like, Rurik, no! And what does he tell you? What does he tell you, Aaron?
I don't have the quote, but he says, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you go on ahead. You can't save me.
Yep.
And so you obey because Prince. And
he says, fly, you fools.
Pretty much, fly, you fools. Yes, this is pretty much fly, you fools. Yes, very good. And so you run off and you leave him pinned under a tree. And here comes Dagnar on his little horse. And he's like, this is the punishment that you get for trespassing. What?
Dagnar's not on his horse.
No, but he comes in, gets down, and then he comes over to him and says that this is the punishment that he gets for trespassing.
and then it shows him like swing his axe, and it cuts.
Yes, it goes to. It doesn't even fade to black; it snaps to black.
But we notated earlier that while riding on his horsey, Dagnar has a red boss aura for an elementalist.
Yes.
And when he walks up to Rurik with an axe in his hand,
yes,
he now has a yellow boss aura for a warrior.
Right.
And
I mean, he could be a warrior Eleth.
He stopped by the Great Temple of Balthazar and changed his profession with Zation.
I don't know. So,
in the 2 seconds between those moments in the game.
Yes, he's a badass. He is a stone summon dwarf.
They just have innate abilities that we can't dream of.
I don't know, maybe, but yes. So basically, it's off with Rurik's head, and he's killed him.
Has he chopped off his head?
I mean, isn't that the
I think that's the implication.
The implication, right? We don't see it, but he does swing at Rurik's general direction of the head.
He does well, and there's not much exposed but the head, is there?
But the head, so it's kind of hard to kill him otherwise because he's got him, pinned under the tree.
To be fair, he could have bisected him because I'm pretty sure Rurik's armor is cardboard.
I don't know. He keeps saying that he's the cleaver, right?
It looks like cardboard. It's brown.
But anyways, yeah. So the mission ends and we spawn in Beacon's Perch.
We do. Did you talk to anyone at Beacon's Perch?
Yeah, Master Saberlin is there, and he's gonna, show us on our way to Kryta.
You spoiled it for me. I haven't talked to anyone at Beacon's Perch.
No, I'm sorry.
I can't play it now.
It's on my spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, we're going to Kryta.
So now that you've played through, because you've said that you have played through this game before, but you never really paid attention to the story.
Bingo. Yep.
So did this how invested did you feel in good old Rurik?
I actually think that despite the frustrating nature of the gameplay of the mission, I think this mission's a banger story-wise.
Yeah.
I think that the end is a good movie moment, right? Even if the whole game is just Lord of the Rings to this point.
At this point, yeah.
No, I think it's great because we've been with Rurik since the beginning of the game, right? We can talk to this guy in pre-searing, right? We do almost every mission in Ascalon side by side with him. And he leads us from one region of the game into the other. You kind of grow up with Rurik in terms of your character leveling. And now we lose him, and it's the character arc in the book where Obi-Wan Kenobi dies, right? And we're on our own now. Right. So we must become the master at this point. We got to go find Yoda in Dagobah. We got to go. We got to go to Rohan. It's the second movie has started. Right. So yeah, I like it. I think it's good. Yeah. As far as a 2005 online game, I think it's very good story-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, I felt more invested in Rurik this time through, because my first time through, not gonna lie, I was happy when he died because the motherfucker kept suiciding himself on my playthroughs through missions, and I'd have to restart because freaking Rurik would die.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how frustrating Ruins of Sirmia and Nolani Academy are if you're a person who's genuinely new to the game in 2006 and don't understand how to play. Right. You're going to fail those missions multiple times because of Prince Rurik.
Yes. So by the time my first playthrough through Frostgate and he died, I was like, good. Now I don't have to worry about you trying to kill yourself because you just went and did it.
Little did you know that ArenaNet was going to add a crucial NPC to every single mission that has to survive the mission.
Yes, I know, but this was my first instance with this guy, and this guy just annoyed me. But this time through, no. This time I was like, oh, that hit a little bit. That hit a little bit in the feels.
Yeah, because I'm actually paying attention to okay, he wants to get his people to safety to start a new life.
Right.
And he knows they need a leader, right?
Right.
And they're going to be lost without, and they're going to be devastated without him too. They followed him into the mountains. He's their reason for going.
Exactly.
Captain Osric isn't exactly an inspiring leader, right?
More Master Titus.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can't be... Yeah, no, it just doesn't work without Rurik. So the Ascalonian refugees are in a pretty devastating situation post-Rurik's demise.
It'll be interesting to see how they take it and how they, or how we, soldier on without our leader, as we have to now. There's no going back.
And the game does explore this too. Mm-hmm. So when you don't just get to Kryda and then like move on from the Ascalon plot, there's a whole quest chain about settling the refugees into Kryda.
Yeah. Right.
Which is pretty cool. That's definitely going to be like a quest chain, because Kryda is the biggest region in the game easily. It's like the main section of the game, right? Mm-hmm. And there's like way too many side quests for us to ever get through all of them. So we're going to have to start prioritizing. And I think the Ascalon settlement quests are going to be high priority as far as side questing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see what happened to our people.
Yeah, bingo. Which brings us to what we'll be doing next episode. Yes. There's a few primary quests that take us from Beacon's Perch to a place called the Gates of Kryda, which is a mission. Mm-hmm. So we'll do those quests, we'll do Gates of Kryda, and we'll get ourselves to Lion's Arch, which is the kind of big city in Kryda, and I think that'll be our content for next episode. Cool. Kryda will probably be split into 3 parts because it's such a big, meaty region. And I need to buy the bonus mission pack so that we can do our Kryda-related bonus mission.
Oh, I thought you bought it already.
I've been blowing it off.
Oh, okay.
I've been like, I've got 4 more episodes. I'm good.
Right.
But now the time is nigh, so I will be picking up the bonus mission pack this week.
Cool.
So that we can enjoy the insanity that reveals. We'll probably do that at the end of Kryda, so like at the last episode of Kryda.
I have the bonus mission pack, and I don't know that I've ever finished all of them. I think
they're kind of hard.
Yeah, they're kind of hard.
Yeah, no, they're not super easy. They're fun though. You get like a custom like overpowered skill bar, but you're like solo with maybe a few allies, so it's a completely like different action economy. It's some pretty cool gameplay as far as Guild Wars 1 goes. But I think that will about do it for episode... Is this 4? This is 4.
Yeah,
We've done 4 of these.
4. Yeah.
Lord in heaven. And I said it was going to be a short one again, and it's been an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I should just stop saying it, honestly. I'm jinxing us. So, guys, please go to the Tyria Now YouTube, Tyria Now on Spotify, and Tyria Now on Apple Podcasts. If you like that audio only action, right? You want to listen to it in your car and listen to it on the treadmill at the gym while you space out. You want to listen to it on a road trip, right? Something like that. Audio only is the way to go. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Tyria Now, Tyria Then, YouTube, Tyria Now for the show, Tyria Then. It'll never not be complicated, and we're going to stick to it.
Yep.
Miko, where can people find you on the internet?
On the internet, you can find me on Twitter at InkySticks. We've been having some good fun with the question of the day over on Tyria Now's Twitter that Aaron's been running.
Yeah, they get controversial sometimes.
Yeah.
People, let's just say...
Yeah,
let's just say I asked what everyone's favorite Living World chapter was, and you'd be amazed the percentage that said Icebrood Saga.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that first half. First half's a banger.
It's good.
Which we'll find out about in about 10 years on this show.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, so you're InkySticks on Twitter and anywhere else?
And Twitch. But Twitch. I haven't streamed in a while.
You never know.
And by a while, I mean like years. So you never know. But you can also find me on Virtually Interrupted. I run that Twitter. We've got scant content currently because all of our people are busy.
Right, and that's the nature of the beast.
Yes.
And then you can also go give Arctic's Booze Bus a follow on YouTube. He's our music guy. He does the song that plays at the beginning and end of the episodes. It's a great song, go give him a follow. And you can follow Tyria Now on Twitter if you would like to chit-chat with me about our questions of the day and get updates on when episodes go up and episode production if there are any delays. That should about do it for us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 5, entering Kryta.
Yes.
And that's going to be it for us, guys. We'll see you all on the next episode when we head to Kryta.
That's right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.